That one, not this one.
What is up, y'all? We're live? No. We're live on YouTube and Facebook, and
We're
we're
live on Instagram.
now live on Instagram. Instagram and Rammer. Just got done doing some deadlifts. That's all I had time for. Did 405 for 15 reps. Yeah, buddy. All right. I'm kind of short of breath right now. You want to start off the
Hey,
conversation?
look, Liv Savage is live.
Whoa. You want to start off talking?
Not really.
Why?
She chose the game meat. We didn't know exactly what you wanted to talk about.
All right, wild game meat. All right, so I am an avid hunter. I like hunting for my food. There are a couple pros to that. One, from a strictly nutritional standpoint, is that wild game is incredibly nutrient dense. It's very lean, not a whole lot of dietary fat in most wild game meat, especially like venison and elk and stuff like that. So you get a really high quality protein, gram for gram, pound for pound. The fat that is in a wild game meat is a really high quality fat. Again, there's not very much of it, especially if you're like look at the muscle tissue, back straps, tenderloins, et cetera, et cetera. But you know how man, I'm really short of breath right now.
So I'll get some of the highs over here.
All right, get some of the highs.
What's good, brother? Hey, says Greg. We got a what's up, guys? What's up? Okay.
All right, y'all know how with ruminant animals like cows, lambs, deer, stuff like that, they upregulate the nutrition that they eat. So they can eat corn, soy, and they upregulate that nutrition through their multi-chamber stomach system. And you put in a little bit of calories, you get out a higher quality calorie in quality grass-fed beef or any ruminant for that matter. Now, with like chickens and pork, those are monogastric animals like we are. They've only got one stomach. So it's kind of more a matter of they are what they eat situation. So if you're feeding chickens and pork, pig, a lot of soy and corn and stuff, they're going to have that translate to the meat. It's going to get stored in the fat. Wild game does not have that much fat, so you don't have to worry about that. But also, the fat that they do have doesn't have very much of that poor storage because most of what they're eating, obviously depending on location, is really high quality wild forage. So there are, deer that go to cornfields and stuff. They're obviously going to get a lot of corn. But the deer, like at my farm in Southwest Arkansas, they're eating like leaves and acorns and stuff like that. So they're not getting near the crap nutrition from what they're eating. Also, things like deer and elk are also ruminant animals. So they have that four-chamber stomach similar to cow and lamb. So they're getting that upregulation process in and of itself. So they're getting the highest quality nutrients for themselves, and they're upregulating that, and they're getting us the highest quality nutrition when we eat them. So there's that. All right, talk a little bit.
It tastes delicious.
It tastes delicious.
I actually like the elk that we have a lot right now. Venison can be a little bit of a struggle depending on what I'm eating. But the elk has been like spot on delicious.
It has. It's also like super deep reddish purple, like rich. Like it doesn't look like something you pick up at the supermarket. So there's the nutritional, biological aspect of it. What?
Jennifer said, "You don't look like you feel well today. Give yourself some Gracie and a break." He just got done doing deadlifts, so he's like totally exhausted. If you're talking about me, then I probably am tired.
Yeah. So there's that. Now, with the moral, ethical standpoint of it, there can be a great argument there as well, because hunters play a crucial role in managing the wild game population. Wildlife biologists put forth a ton of research every single year to manage herd density and ensure that these herds are not overly populated and therefore causing risk of increased disease if they're overpopulated or having a shortage of food to support that herd, et cetera, et cetera. So all that goes into play to figure out what a proper, well-managed hunting limit is on these species. So like that's going to change depending on the region. So like for Arkansas, for instance, where we're at, I can kill 6 deer a year statewide. And then that's kind of divided into which zone I'm hunting. So here, I don't know what the zone limitations are here. In North or Southwest Arkansas, where I hunt, it's a 4 deer limit. I can kill either 4 doe, 0 buck. I can kill 2 bucks, 2 does. But it's all basically well thought out through the wildlife biologist to figure out what makes the most sense for managing that deer population. So you got that going for you. You can figure out, how is best to manage that herd so that the herd can be as healthy as possible. Also, wild animals that die in the wild do not die a, peaceful death where they're sitting in a nursing home and people are comforting them and giving them flowers and cards. They die a brutal death, torn limb from limb by coyotes, wolves, or they just starve to death because their teeth are no longer able to digest the food or break down the food so they can digest it. It's not a pretty picture. A quick, well-placed shot from a well-trained hunter is going to be the most, painless death for that animal possible. So if you're an advocate for doing right by the animals, which we all should be, a trained hunter is probably going to be their best bet for a quick, painless death. So there's that aspect of it.
There's that aspect. What do you think, Rigel? Deep thoughts?
Still short of breath. All right. What do we got over here for questions on Instagram?
Love you and Keto Brains collab.
Awesome.
We can't spell today, apparently.
What do we spell?
I'm not sure. Hey, I sent you an email. I had a question.
I have not checked my email yet this afternoon.
I have, so it was definitely to you. Venison is delicious, needs a bit of extra fat. Yeah, for sure, some extra fat. Hey, Rigel. All right.
Lots of hays and howdies. All right.
Hays and howdies.
Now we're pretty much open up to any questions you'll have. So come at us with some questions. We'll try and come at you with some answers.
And topics for future weeks. So if you have a topic you want to talk about, then put topic and then put what you actually want to hear about. Otherwise, have at it.
Have at it. But let us know what's up. Throw some questions our way. We did our apparel launch last weekend on Sunday. So hopefully I'm rocking one right now. We got the Broadhead over here. We got the Savage Creed in the back. Look at that.
I actually really like this one a lot, but my favorite, I love the raglan for the females, but I also really love the thermals.
I've been rocking the thermal nonstop.
The thermals are for the guys, technically, but I just got a small in the thermal and I wear it and I love it. I also got a thermal in the Faith Over Fear one as well.
Jennifer says, for a newbie to wild game, what type and cut do you recommend? Okay, so it is really lean. As far as steak style cuts, the back strap and the tenderloin are going to be the most tender. The main thing with wild game or any really lean meat for that matter is to not overcook it. If you put it on the grill too long, it's just going to be like boot leather. You don't want that. You got to almost undercook it. And it's going to be delicious and tender and nice and juicy.
Well,
you can marinate it in a Primal Kitchen salad dressing if you want to do something like that. For a lot of the deer, we will do just ground venison, and we'll mix that with a fat source. We'll oftentimes mix ground venison and bacon together through a grinder. We'll take the organ meats and mix the venison liver and stuff like that through a grinder. And then also buco is also delicious, and that is basically the deer shank, which is a very chewy, collagen-y, gelatinous style, sinewy, tendony meat. Just made up a whole bunch of words there. So the best way to do that is to put it in an Instant Pot or something like that. It breaks down all that collagen, makes it super, tender, fall off the bone tender, and that is a great way to get some wild game collagen in your diet.
Yeah. Also, if you are new to it but are not hunting yourself, anything that you can get from a hunter is going to be great. They do have stuff in the stores every once in a while. I know Natural Grocers carries some, I think it's elk and ostrich and things like that. But most of that's going to come ground, which is great as well. But if a hunter is willing to give some to you, take it and enjoy whatever they give you. You get it yourself, you're going to end up eating all of it, but
on the mend from a nasty upper respiratory infection, how should I start back up my routine as to not over or underdo it?
I think we're talking about workouts here.
Yeah. I would say if it's upper respiratory, you're probably going to have more of an issue with, catching your wind and from a cardiovascular standpoint. So I would do probably lower rep, heavier load style stuff that doesn't require a ton of cardiovascular endurance, and then start there and work up, and then just add more reps over time.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's the same way I would go as well. My biggest thing is like when I'm sick, if it's from the neck up, I will work out. If it's from the neck down, I will not. So if you are completely over your respiratory thing, but just recovering, then definitely take some, if you're like someone who likes to superset, take rests in between your sets rather than doing supersets. Just do an exercise, take a rest, do an exercise, take a rest, rather than running back and forth from one to the next. But yeah.
I think you're making Roger hungry about all this wild game talk.
Yeah.
I'm making myself hungry for sure. Thoughts on the recently popular 80 fat, 20 protein with 3 to 4 meals of at least 20 grams of protein per meal protocol? Is this like a new thing? You heard of this?
80% fat, 20% protein, and 3 to 4 meals of at least 20 grams of protein per meal protocol. I don't know about that. I think most people say a minimum of 30 grams of protein per meal.
It's kind of funny though. Like you're once you're in the space for a long time, like all these things get like repackaged and trendy,
Yeah.
and it's just like the same thing over and over and over again, but like with
I'm
new
like
words.
80,
Or like
80, 20. I feel like that's a lot of people do that. I feel
it's
like
been around for a while.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of compelling research that shows that you want to consume enough protein in a meal to make sure you're consuming enough
Kelly Hogan.
leucine.
So it must be just literally no carbs.
Yeah, you want to consume enough protein in a meal so that you're getting enough leucine in the meal to activate muscle protein synthesis. Usually that's about 30, 35 grams of protein is going to be adequate leucine content to make sure you're getting muscle protein synthesis. It's going to be a little bit different depending on how much muscle you have.
We bonk.
You just did it again?
Oh, but
You bonked again.
I'm sorry.
That wasn't near as hard as the other one though.
No, it wasn't.
But yeah, it's going to depend on what your training load's like, how much muscle tissue you have, et cetera, et cetera. But generally speaking, I would probably do 3 rather than 4 meals and make sure I'm getting at least 30, 35 grams as opposed to 4 meals with 20 grams. That'd be what I would personally do.
I would also say that we don't like to put exacts on every single individual. So like me saying you need this, 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 and this, so does everyone else in the room. We don't like to do that because we think everyone is an individual. It needs, everyone's going to need different amounts of protein, different amounts of fat, whatever, simply because of just their life, their everyday life. And yes, you can do that same breakdown with different amounts of calories, but I think it also depends on how much protein you are needing from exercise and things like that. So I don't like to blanket statement things, but I don't think that that's a bad ratio or a bad way to do it. I don't know what the benefit of eating 3 to 4 times a day is per se, but
basically to stimulate muscle protein synthesis multiple times throughout the day. You want to do it at least twice, ideally. I'll do OMAD when I'm in a deficit because at that point my priority is not building muscle so much as it is maintaining muscle. But if you're in a building phase, you're going to want to do more than OMAD anyways because it's going to be hard to get a caloric surplus if you're only doing 1 meal a day. So again, it kind of depends on what the goals are too. Like that's going to change based off if you're in a building phase or in a cutting phase.
Yeah, and I don't know. You said it was Kelly's protocol, but she might say this is for fat loss. This is for muscle gain. She might actually have that in there. So I'm not really sure, but I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah. Everyone says that keto builders are not natural. I don't like that. Yeah, I'm definitely natural.
Silly.
It's weird that I don't know who said that, but they're wrong. I compete in the INBF, WNBF federations. That is the strictest natural bodybuilding federation. They have a 10-year ban on all banned substances. The banned substance list is freaking extensive. They have a polygraph, urinalysis test, all that stuff. Plus, I have no time or desire or interest in taking a bunch of steroids anyways. So definitely.
And he'd have a wife to deal with if he did.
Yeah, and if I was taking steroids, I would hope that I'm a hell of a lot bigger than I am right now. So if I'm taking steroids, I'm doing something wrong, yo. Don't be taking advice from me if I'm doing steroids. All right, what else we got? Any other questions on the horizon?
What's it say?
Monroe.
Connecticut?
Yes, I believe CT's Connecticut. It's been a while since I've done my state abbreviations. That sounds right. All right, anything else, y'all? Anything else? Yeah, I know I started keto building and I feel healthy. Yeah, I've been doing it for, is it almost 8 years?
I think so.
Almost
right?
8 years. This year's flown by. Crystal's been doing it for, I guess, almost 7 years.
Yep.
Any thoughts on doing a fruit keto brick like strawberry or mixed berries? Yeah, so we did, we tried making a, I don't want to say strawberry. It was kind of strawberry-like, but it wasn't really good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't nailed. We didn't nail it. And I don't want to put a brick out there unless we nail it. Now, we do have some bricks in the pipeline that I think are going to be great. It's not anytime in the super near future, so don't like hold your breath or anything. But I do want to have some different varieties rather than just like the rich chocolatey style flavors.
Yeah, it's really hard to do, specifically because we as keto people don't really eat a lot of fruit. So there's a lot of, it's really hard to get like natural things with just fruit flavor, you know?
Yeah. Even steroid eye drops make me want to eat my own arm. Kelly promotes for fat loss, stalls, overall health.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's not for muscle building, so it's specific to those things. That makes sense.
Any plans for keto bricks to be sold in shops or stores online in the UK? We do have keto bricks for sale in the UK. So my old client, Al Reeves, he's partnered up with I forget the guy he's partnered up with, but his company is Keto Pro, and they sell keto bricks. They may be sold out right now. I'm not sure. I haven't checked, but Keto Pro in the UK sells keto bricks.
Yep.
There are keto bricks. We ship them there. They sell them in the UK.
Yes.
Any suggestions not to lose muscle since going to surgery soon and recovery will be 6 to 8 weeks out of training? Any advice? Also mental. Whoo, that's tough.
What are you having surgery on?
Yeah.
One of my questions.
Can you do any movement?
Yeah. Even when I had my C-section, it was a lot of my core, but there were still things that I could do with my arms. Really not so much my legs, but I could walk, do calf raises, things like that. So depending on what your surgery is going to be on, we might be able to help you a little bit more specifically.
Starting to build out a home gym. Rogue is pretty expensive. Any recommendations on brands? Sorinex is really good, but they're like crazy lead times. Rogue is pretty good, but they are expensive. Rep Fitness is probably what I would point you to. Titan Fitness is cheaper, but I think the quality is a little bit compromised with Titan Fitness. Let's see what else. Legend Fitness is really good. That's what some of our equipment is. Legend Fitness. They're all made in the U.S., so I would check them out. One question in keto building: protein level is high. Is there any risks in health? I mean, if you're doing a ketogenic bodybuilding protocol, your protein doesn't have to be crazy high. Like, it's usually higher in people that are doing a carbohydrate protocol. Like my protein, I don't really ever go above 225 grams on high end. So it's not near as high as it used to be when I was doing like 300 plus grams. Any suggestions not to lose muscles? That's one I just read about surgery. Yeah, let us know what you're having surgery on. I would recommend making sure you're not in a caloric deficit. Like, try and be willing to put on a little bit of body fat to ensure that you're not in a crazy caloric deficit, so that you're able to preserve as much muscle as possible.
So neck and thyroid.
Neck and thyroid. A lot of people try to like, oh, I'm going to surgery, I can't work out, so I'm not going to eat hardly anything. And not eating hardly anything, and then also not being able to train, you're going to lose way more muscle doing that.
Yeah.
So I would sacrifice a little bit of composition, be willing to put on a little bit of body fat, but preserve more muscle tissue.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with that. Thyroid stuff, that's a little bit harder. I would just kind of maybe do some stretching, maybe do some walking, whatever they clear you for, just go ahead and start doing. But for sure, if you can do some stretching, or if you can do some walking, or even just like some light band stuff, like without really getting your heart rate up too high, but just to get your body moving and the muscle stimulated, but not specifically to grow, if that makes sense.
Have you contacted for flavoring Taste Point and IFF? If you need context, let me know. I have not contacted them, but definitely shoot me an email with their information. I would check them out.
This is a very specific question. How does your body react to 220 grams of protein or kidneys?
Just totally fine. I have no issues from a kidney function standpoint. No issues at all.
When I was pregnant, I was about 200 grams of protein a day, and I did totally fine with that too. So did Rigel. He grew perfectly.
Would you suggest keto diet for individuals suffering with chronic acne issues? 100% yes. I used to have crazy bad acne, and that was before I knew about keto, but I'm 1,000% confident that had I gone keto back then, I would have significantly minimized my issues with acne.
Thanks. Y'all's baby is growing like crazy. Yes, we just took him to the doctor's today, and he is 18 pounds, 2 ounces, and 27 inches long. He is growing like a stinking weed. He's in like the 80th or 90th percentile for everything. So
He's a beast.
Wild.
Would even slow flow yoga for surgery recovery? Yeah,
yes,
anything
exactly.
to move your body at all. It's gonna be good. Have very limited mobility and am able to use a new step machine. What is a new step machine? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up. New step.
Reading your book now. I love it.
So glad to hear that.
Ketogenic bodybuilding for life.
Yeah, buddy.
So I don't have to be afraid of the amount of protein.
No, I mean, get your blood work drawn, like see what your kidney levels are like. But yeah, I wouldn't imagine you have any issues with that. I don't know your stats. I don't know how much muscle you have.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to eat too much protein. But just see how you feel as an individual, or slowly increase it. If you're eating less protein now, slowly increase your protein and see how you feel. And then, like Robert said, get some labs done or something.
Yeah, but you probably don't need that much.
Yeah, if you're feeling well, though, then I don't see that there'd be a big issue there.
I am DJ Webb in the building. What's up, brother? Brother? All right, we got any questions for next week, y'all? Throw some questions our way, so we're not just like randomly coming up with things like 30 seconds before we're supposed to go live. But let us know what y'all want us to talk about next week. DJ Webb, let us know, man. I'm gonna rely on DJ Webb to pick next week's topic. Let us know what we want to talk about, DJ.
I do like 42 to 45 grams of fat a day.
That's not very much at all. Yeah, I would 1,000% recommend more fat than that. 100%.
I would recommend more fat than that for the average American.
I would recommend more fat than that for a 95-pound, tiny individual.
Yeah, you need fat in order to regulate things like your hormones and your brain health and things like that. So I would definitely up that.
Yeah.
Protein threshold. That's where is that where they're at in the book?
Maybe that was a topic.
Oh, maybe.
DJ Webb was leaving us hanging. He'd probably be like, signed
off.
He's like, I'm out of here. Lost my period at 32 years. Yeah, maybe because you were 90. I don't know if your fat was that low early on, but I would 100% recommend more fat.
I need to eat more protein. Much easier to keep my fats high. It is pretty darn easy to eat fat. But as long as you're getting in plenty of meats every day, or eggs or things like that, even yogurt has protein in it. But definitely making meat the base of each meal is going to be really helpful for getting that protein out.
I like this topic. Can we discuss eating for fuel as a mindset? I'm losing an appetite for same old meat and veggies.
Yeah.
All right, can you take a picture of that on your phone? That will be our topic for next week, Kayla. Thank you so very much. I love that.
That was the other topic, was protein threshold. I struggle to get more than 120 grams of protein. Well, depending on who you are as an individual and what you need, 120 grams might be good.
Yeah.
Robert's keto coffee will get your fat up. Yeah, so Robert on a regular basis doesn't have a whole bunch of fat in there, but in his book there's a recipe for a fatty coffee. You can go check that out.
You betcha, Kayla. Keto smoothie ideas for individuals trying to gain weight. We made one way back in the day. It was called like the Hulk Shake or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah, I wouldn't specifically choose a smoothie though, because any type of protein or whatever that you're going to have in there is not going to be the highest quality of nutrition.
Yeah.
I do realize that you're trying to gain weight, but you probably want to get the weight from a healthy source. But you can add things like avocado and things like that to your shake. But if you're going to choose a protein, I probably would personally choose. There's a brand called Just Ingredients, and I would either choose their protein, which is a very high quality protein,
Or Steak Shake.
the Steak Shake by Mark Bell.
All right. Hi, guys. I want to go to my second competition next year, and I would like to know what Keto Savage package should I get. I want to have some consultation to see where I am, what improvement is needed, etc. Awesome. So I just have one coaching package, and it's just a one-on-one coaching. That's what I have. Any of the clients that I have, that's what I'm doing. One-on-one coaching. I don't have like a group coaching package or like a consultation call. So if you go to ketosavage.com, you can sign up for my one-on-one coaching there.
Mm-hmm. I have a Real Doctor. What?
I have a Red Doctor anti-blog. He recommends protein amount, height 110, for example, 180 minus 110, 70 grams of protein per day, and he recommends that for normal people.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a perfect.
There's an oversimplification. Right
Yeah, there's not a perfect like breakdown that. There's not a perfect equation that every single person can do for like normal people. Normal people should be working out. Normal people should be exercising. What is normal? Is that a 30-year-old female or a 60-year-old man? What is considered normal? But I think that there is a danger in saying like this is the perfect equation for everyone, which is why the way that Robert and I do our coaching is we manipulate things to the individual. We increase protein per the individual, not this is a really good ratio. You should stick to that because I said so. So I think it's very dangerous to put blanket statements just like that over things.
Not for
a bodybuilder. I mean that makes
Topic of good relationship with food and binging. That's a good one too.
I'm just gonna take some pictures.
Take some pictures.
Don't mind me.
All right. I believe that will be a wrap on today. We have anything else there?
Nope. That's it.
All right, y'all. Much love. Ta-ta for now. Toodaloo. Hasta la vista, baby.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you.